I never learned.
That was expensive, Angela.
I never knew.
Well,
That was an expensive talk.
lest the introduction take too big a fraction of these short presentations, I think we all know who Dale Thieme is. He's an officer in the club. He's also into chess, bicycling, music, and astronomy. And his presentation tonight is Tales from the Scanning Room, the WASP Digitizing Project. Guess I could have taken longer.
Well, this presentation comes from a conversation I once had with Gary Ross. When I described the process of digitizing the WASP, he looked at me and said, "You ought to make a presentation out of it." Well, I passed on that, but I've been convinced since to go ahead with this presentation. So here we go, looking at Tales from the Scanning Room. It all started on a dark and stormy night. I was freshly retired and saw a chance to contribute something to the club and spotted this entry from Jonathan on the WASP Yahoo group. As you can see from Jonathan's posting, the Warren Astronomical Society paper came into existence in March of '69. Those earlier newsletters were mimeographed, dittoed, and eventually photocopied, each providing their own digitizing issues. Now this here may explain why Jonathan gave me small batches at a time. He just didn't want to discourage me. I mentioned that to him in my emails that I had a sheet feed scanner so I could make it go a little faster. It also did both sides, duplex, and happily it also came with OCR software, which is optical character recognition. Jonathan also has some further thoughts on this collection. He references the variety of covers, a maturation process both of the members and printing technology, the personal articles and funny ones, then finishes with the observation of the editor's plight. I think Bob can relate to this. Getting contributions, quoting one plea that ends with, "We'll take anything, our standards are low." Well, most standards are right in my wheelhouse, so let the games begin. Here's a little look at the scanning process. This is a file folder for one of the issues. For each issue, 2 sets of scans were used. One is a searchable PDF, that came straight from the scanner through the OCR. And one has a collection of pages in one file. It's a paged TIFF file, which is a image file. Then I would tease the images out of the TIFF file, copy and paste the text from the PDF into Microsoft Word. After correcting the OCR misreads, matching the fonts and positioning the images, I wound up with a reasonable facsimile of the original newsletter. The screen capture here is a file folder with all the components for that month's newsletter. As you can see, most of them are JPEGs. Those are taken from the TIFF file. Then right at the end, there's the output from the scanner, the searchable PDF, the Word document that I created, and then the PDF that I published from the Word document. And some actual work was involved. This image here has some bleed through from, because on thin paper. So the image on the left, you're going to see where the bleed through is. On the right is the image after I cleaned it up. This particular one involved pixel by pixel surgery in many areas, probably the biggest challenge I had.
Oh, what time you have.
And those images are rather large, so you're just, one little tiny bit of screen over and over again. And not just the images. The OCR was challenged by the ditto process, by the mimeograph process. A period would wind up being translated as a small case O. So there's some interesting guesses by the software. Suffice it to say, considerable editing was required. Now this scan here yielded, this is the text pasted into Word. The folds and shadowing from the scan turned into strange glyphs. One of the more severe instances of OCR editing problems. And I faced quite a few of them.
Yeah.
The process resulted in my completing one issue a day, sometimes two, the longest time spent in correcting the OCR misreads. The Greek characters were often hand-drawn, and many times poorly in articles, and since Greek is not a second language for me, I had to do a lot of looking up, and eventually wound up adding some old literature to my library, such as Olcott's Field Book of the Skies, so that I could get the Greek letters correct.
Oh.
Because they have a copy directly out of these books. Now, they also had handwritten pages. OCR was useless for that. But it wasn't all a slogfest, there was fun too. We had the covers. Now here's the very first WASP from March of 1969, Volume 1, Number 1. That identifying system didn't last long. By May, it was history. Right after this issue, well, by May anyway, full cover artwork was the norm. A fair bit of line drawing cover art came from Blaine McCullough's fertile imagination. Frank, for those who don't know our history, pretty much founded the WASP and was a editor for years and years, and contributed in many other ways to the club before passing on. And he was had a fertile imagination. First up here we see some basic calligraphy work. This next one is subtitled Mads Astronomical Monthly. Now looking at that, all those text on there is actually saying something. And it's all capital letters. No punctuation I can see. So you're perfectly welcome to download that issue of the WASP and go through there and see if you can decipher it for me. I'd be very grateful.
Sounds like it's a chant to Cthulhu.
Yeah. This next one is a bit tamer, featuring a common theme in the drawn covers, a wasp. Eventually someone made a wasp logo for the WASP, which appears on many covers. And then finally, Frank goes nuts with the WASP theme. Now, with Frank, copyright infringement was not in his vocabulary. So if you don't tell, I won't. Sorry, Charles. Now here's a couple more covers. This cover features a totally made-up list of contents.
Why? Why? What was the reason?
Well, presumably he was dealing with the 100% humidity that we have in Michigan in the summertime.
This next has a cartoon which shows up in several places, the frozen astronomer. Frank also did the Rotary report. The Rotary News appeared as an observatory editorial cartoon commentary. Note the dreaded light pole.
Ninja?
We suffer with for many, many years. There is rain in the observatory. That was a problem.
NTNT?
His solution was turning it into an aquarium. Spring cleaning with the dome removed. We've seen that done. And of course, the soggy Michigan nebula then as now. And finally, we have a disappointed scout wonder where everybody's at. Now at first, going through this page, I thought there was a problem with the scan, but looking at the original, I could see the images were truly blanks. This carries on for 2 pages. Now the descriptions are another clue. One is titled, Syzygy and Apogee during an opposition at solstice, never to be repeated.
What?
Oh.
Cluster
Yeah.
of black holes in
Darn.
Perseus.
Yeah. For 1 year, June of '76 through June of '77, went to a booklet format. Now that was tough to do with the scanner because I didn't want to actually take the books apart, disassemble them. I didn't have a centered fold staple or anything, so I couldn't put them back together again once they came apart. So I unfolded them and scanned them one page at a time, twice. And a bit of trivia, from January through September of 1977, they tried calling our newsletter the Vespa. But common sense finally prevailed and we all went back to the WASP. Happily for me, they went back to the full-size version. This other cover features Stargate Observatory, a frequent subject of those early years. Now, from the 80s on, the covers often were photos, mostly astronomical, sometimes personalities. Now, this cover features members of the club. And if you can't make out the names at the bottom there, the top row from left to right is Ken Wilson, Roger Civic, the designer of the club logo, Ginger Quintus, Larry Kalinowski, our new telescope is named for him, Jerry Leah, Clarence Trott, and Margaret Leah, and Judy Strong. On the bottom row we have Tim Spinisty, Doug Bach, Lou Faix, Frank McCullough, Dave Harrington, and Paul Strong, who got us into Macomb College for a meeting place. Now, the WASP articles ran the gamut from observational astronomy, astrophotography, and telescope projects to humor, autobiographical, and personal accounts of events, such as eclipses, shuttle launches, and auroras. And a bit of astrology, believe it or not. Our standards were low at one time. Frank McCullough spans 4 issues, his autobiographical article, between 2 publishings. We have 3 of the installments. Part 4 is still missing. A real cliffhanger. Now here's a callback to last month's talk by Jonathan and Diane. The WASP reprinted an article from the Tucson Citizen about the observatory's skunk.
Comet skunk.
Yep. The WASP has grown up quite a bit over the years through many editors and contributors. Now I'm making no claim that this is a complete list. We have several big gaps in issues. The project has made severe inroads in my ribbon supply, and I would appreciate anybody making an effort to help me resupply the stock.
Done.
I want to especially thank Jonathan Kade, the perpetrator of this project, and faithful minion. Thank you all.
Wow, what effort.
No, because you stop.